All right, folks. Welcome to another edition of the Winter Moon Hobby Circle. I am David Endless Zelenka, your host, and welcome. We're going to be working on some hobby stuff for the next couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours or so. It's going to be chilling out, streaming with you all this afternoon. Welcome in. Hopefully you've brought something to work on also, and I'd love to hear about that if you do, in fact, have something to work on. If not, that's okay. We welcome everyone to come just join and be part of the fun. I'm going to be working on some Imperials because that's kind of what I'm working on. I played Tour of Duty for the first time yesterday with an Empire army, and so I'm really excited for my my planetary garrison to get larger and to eventually bring peace to the galaxy. That is their major agenda here on the first Tour of Duty. The ambitious Captain Callum, my Imperial officer, which I've painted up, is leading the charge. She is the tip of the spear, although I was thinking about switching her to Academy Trained because Academy Trained gives her Exemplar, and that's a really good ability at low points. A really nice thing to have when you are when you're playing. So, and I played with an ATST, which is in the mail. I sold my last one, which was the Chewie ATST. I'm going to pick up a new one and going to make it very Imperial, very gritty. I want to experiment with like some sort of like freehand or water slides on it. I think water slides can make the ATST look spectacular. So that is the plan for that. I also wanted to show off a DLT squad that I finished up. I used the Riot Trooper Marksman for the DLT, and that Riot Trooper Marksman is a great stand-in. There is no DLT in hard plastic at the moment, so he's a marvelous stand-in for what we've got here. Let me go ahead and put him on the screen there. Yeah, so he could be doing a DLT, he could do an RT-97. They're pretty similar looking weapons. They're not the same weapon, obviously, at least not in Legion, but I think they're pretty close together. If you're watching, let me know if you want the background music to stay on. I'm probably going to keep it on since I'm just solo today. I got some Stormies here. This is the squad leader. He's just a regular Stormtrooper dude. I used a dry brush method on these. I went ahead and just did a brown-black kind of undercoat for the bodysuit, dry brushing with a light gray to an even lighter gray to a white. So pretty good results. I used a soft tone to weather them as well. So that is Captain Callum and her combat engineers. They're missing their astromech, which again, you know, the figures in the mail. I have to actually have it arrive to play with it. So I can't paint it if it's not here. So in terms of the painting bench today, I've got some. I got an agent to finish up, as opposed to my officer. I got the agent in the box as well. AMG was really nice to us and sent us a promotional copy of the Imperial Custom. So I have my agent here, which I'm going to finish up. But this is my Imperial agent. He's in a snowdrift because for whatever reason, the lightning weapon and the cold kind of spoke to me to go together. He's just a very ruthless, cold, implacable sort of dude. So when I play him in the game, I usually give him platoon commander for the surge to block and melee, as well as the combat armor. Since you know he's wearing the combat armor, so you might as well just give it to him as an upgrade. So at least that's how I work. I tried to do some object source lighting with his cape. I think it worked out. It's the first time I've ever done OSL. I don't really do OSL as a technique. Hey, what's up, Sean? The water slides for Ewoks. Now, the water slides in my case would be for the Empire, but I get what you're saying. Let me know what project you're working on, or if not, just good to have you in the chat. Love to see people hang out. I'm going to be shutting up here in just a few minutes and getting these painting and hobbing off the ground. In order to support my agent, I did some snowtroopers, really quick and dirty snowtrooper method. All you got to do is do a black brown undercoat, 3 layers of dry brushing, and then I I did some detail with the pallid bone speed paint to get the tans of the suit. So basically a dry brush undercoat. And then I did, what did I do? I did black contrast paint for the gun and the eye sockets of the mask. And then I did a really, really light dry brush of silver on the top of the gun, just on the top of the gun, just to give it a little bit of three-dimensionality. And I did a whole squad of snows like this as a T-21, or Ion Snowtrooper, a T-7, I mean. Hey, welcome in, Natalie. She says she's working on some terrain pieces today. Awesome. Terrain is fun. I haven't worked on terrain in a good bit. I kind of gave up on my Legion table because my theme just changed too fast. Like, I wanted to do, like, Yavin, but all the Yavin pieces I've got were not very high quality, and I don't know. I've learned a lot about hand building terrain, and I think hand-built terrain might just be the way to go. I think 3D printed pieces can augment the hand-built terrain really well. I just don't know if I am really into full 3D printed terrain pieces unless they're like actual boxes or squares or, you know, something more geometric. Because I've tried like 3D printing the natural stuff, but the prints that I got were I either got really unlucky with the actual quality that came out, or I just had a bad idea and didn't want to. I just had a bad idea about what was possible resolution-wise with the filament 3D printing. And then, like, I tried to do this thing in resin, and it was a huge piece, and it cracked in shipping, and it was just a bunch of wasted money. To the point where I'm like, man, I should just get my own 3D printer and 3D print my stuff if I want to. And who knows, you know, that might be my future still. It's not at this time, but, you know, we'll see. I'm going to switch the music to something a little less epical. Epico. But I don't know, this one's actually copyright free, so I can't actually maybe switch off it because of the copyright. I don't want to like randomly run into a video that's going to get me copyright struck. There we go. This one's from the Lego short film, Alpha Squad. Never watched it, but works for me. All right. So let's actually do some hobby, because I've spent about 10 minutes just chatting about what I've been doing. So I'm going to move these off my painting area and just get some stuff done. I kind of want to build these Riot Troopers. So my options are build Riot Troopers or Dry Brush Stormtroopers, and I think building Riots is going to be more fun right now. I'm trying to make Riots work, man. I don't like their stat block. I think it's not great. People swear by them. I haven't seen them perform yet. I think the Imperial March did a lot for them. But I guess it's the cheapness of the surging save is what's really attractive about them. At least I think that's what people have told me. They are, with the KX droids by themselves, they're just 68, which is pretty nice. Alright, I'm going to spend a... Let's see, do I have a 30-minute Pomodoro? Yeah, I'll do a 30-minute Pomodoro. And just get this started. And of course, I'll be reading and responding to chat while folks are still here, so... I put the marksman together already, so I've got 4 Riot Troopers and 2 security droids to put together. Shouldn't take too long. Move the Dark Lord out of the way. I've been kind of intimidated by painting Vader. Vader seems like one of those characters where it's like, well, he better look good because, you know, he's one of the main characters. And I get that kind of like fear of like, well, I hope I can do him justice, you know. I get in that kind of mode. Let's see. Natalie says, my table is a supply depot, so I had some big ships and cargo scatter in a tower, but now I'm just making jungle scenery. Exactly. Something I recommend for jungle scenery, if you have the time and are inclined to get messy with your fingers, is you can make like natural sloping hills out of drywall compound. It's very similar to like sculpting texture paint. It's very similar. You can use water and use your fingers to mold it and sculpt it, and you can make like natural slopes. And I used it for palm trees. So, for example, what did I do? I did it for palm trees. I did it with poster board shapes. I cut out some like jelly bean shapes with poster board, and then put the drywall compound on top. And once that dried, it was able, or once that got close to drying, you could just stick like I pinned like these plastic palm trees into the drywall compound foam board combination that I then painted up. That could be good article fodder. Just like, hey, here's the way I do jungle trees. Just a generic jungle tree. I learned it because I play this pirate game called Blood and Plunder. So I was making a Spanish villa. All right, so we're gonna work on Riot Trooper M here. Mr. M. We set our Pomodoro timer. It is ticking. So let's cut out all these parts. We got a stun baton. We've got a face mask. Yeah, I want to investigate going to a makerspace. Getting some things cut there, some laser cut things. Because I was wondering like ways to like just have more stuff to give away or sell for Wintermoon. And something I thought of was we don't have enough expend tokens that exist. Let me turn this down a little bit. Something I really want is just the ability to track exhausted and expended abilities with like very little friction. So I think having just an expend token would be good. Just a generic little expend and maybe in different colors. So like for example, like you could have a red one and a yellow one and like just different shades of like yellow, orange, and red. And they can say, oh, well, you know, orange is my force push and red is my force choke. And that should be like fairly simple to do. M7, that's his fist. Where the shield, no doubt, is glued on. Natalie says, I'm using styrofoam and little squares of fake grass with the trees and bamboo stabbed through. Drywall paste sounds interesting, though. Yeah. So are you able to cut the styrofoam into like a naturalistic shape? I mean, terrain is what it is, but I'm just saying what I would prefer is I would cut the styrofoam into like a naturalistic shape and just try to go from there. And the drywall compound really does accomplish that. It gives you a little bit of height. In fact, sometimes what I do is I take one piece of poster board and put another piece of poster board on top. So that gives me like a skeleton around which I can push the drywall compound. Drywall compound is also super cheap and plentiful. I get what's called the pink stuff, and it really works out for me. Get rid of my keyboard here so I have more room to work. Alright, so we got a torso here. Some arms. Where's his legs? Where's the M legs? There they are. Can't exactly walk around without your legs, sir. Can't bring order to the galaxy. Well, you can bring order to the galaxy from a chair. Palpatine proved that. We need your Something else that really enlightened me was there's a guy, I'll recommend him to you all because he's a really good artist. His name is Dexter Hyde, Heide. He has, for the last, like, gosh, half a decade, just done straight up, like, some of the best, like, 18th century, 17th century terrain I've ever seen. But this guy doesn't even use that much miniature paint. He's using, like, craft paint and dry brushing and just using the natural texture of the material that he's using to bring out the details. It's so flippin' cool. Sean says, don't let perfection impede progress. Yeah, amen to that. That is a good tip both in painting and in life in general. I'm someone in recovery, so we seek progress, not perfection is definitely a mantra that I have heard and used in my life. Natalie says, I can stack styrofoam if I want height, but most of these are fairly flat on purpose so that troopers can walk on them or walk through. Yeah, they're basically area terrain is the picture I have in my head. And of course, when you have area terrain, you want your trees to be movable. Uh-oh, my plastic glue is a little screwy. Might have to pin it, unfortunately. Let's see here. Yep. Okay. There we go. Now it's flowing. Alright, so put the little torso together. These riot troopers have like overalls. It's a little weird to me. This means more work. Means I can't dry brush them and call it a day. I have to go back in and do the detail. Yeah, I was gonna say, Tour of Duty was really fun. I think I think campaigns are cool. I like small campaigns. I'm actually in a couple of them. I got a Tour of Duty campaign going on. I got a Blood and Plunder campaign going on. I like the more casual and like more narrative aspects of campaign gaming. I think it's underrated. I like the sort of light role play that you can do. I'm not a D&D player, so I don't go too crazy with it. But like if I want to like sit down and write like a 300-word story and just share it with the group, like I think that's kind of cool. Oops. Out goes the arm. And these Riot Trooper sculpts, the depth of the pegs is a little shallow. Which I suppose is okay. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. I just like the glue to have something to bite onto. That's all I really want. That and no bad mold lines. Those are the two things I really want out of my sculpts. Alright, so this is his shield arm. Don't know why this Stormtrooper helmet is in two parts. I think they had a good reason for it. I just don't know what that is. Yeah, I might be a little low energy today. I had a cold over the week. Came back from Vegas. I had some con crud. Don't know when I got it. Probably just from mingling with so many people. I didn't even smoke or drink that much. Okay, I didn't smoke at all. I drank a little bit. My days with smoking are over. Alright, we got the Stormtrooper helmet on. He's looking fairly good. Just needs his riot shield. And he'll be assembled, and that's a 1 out of 5. Yeah, I feel better today. I've been resting a lot. Much as my tendency to want to just push, and work a lot. I'm a bit of a workaholic. Okay, this... So I'm looking at this sculpt with the shield, and it's pretty obvious to me that dry brushing is not going to work on the whole sculpt. I'm going to have to go in and manually paint this setup here. This guy likes to hold his shield very sideways for whatever reason. I used to read a comic back in the early 2000s called Transmetropolitan. If anybody knows Transmetropolitan, please do shout out because I love that comic. But the reason I bring it up is because I think I've brought it up before on stream, is that there's a scene in the book, or I guess in the comic book, where there's a group of humans that have injected themselves. It's kind of cyberpunky. Oops, my video went out. Hey, Pally Sass, what's up? Fix this video glitch. What's going on here? I think my camera turned off. Yes, it did. And it's looking at my ceiling. Oh no. There we go. Okay, cool. All right, as I was saying, there's a book called Transmetropolitan. There's a comic book. It's Warren Ellis wrote it. Really, really cool comic book, but it's about cyberpunk dystopia. And in this cyberpunk dystopian city, there are people who have injected themselves with Martian DNA, so like the aliens from Mars, you know, the Greys. And so they're transforming slowly into the Greys. That's kind of their shtick. And so like they're called transhumans. You know, not to hit you over the head with any references, but but there's a riot that happens because there's a grifter named Fred Christ who is trying to make money off the transhuman movement, and so he stirs them up into a politically convenient riot because there's a presidential election going on in the story, and like the candidate, the incumbent candidate wants to be the candidate of law and order, so it sends in the police to crush the rioters, and there's a scene where the riot police are lining up and they're like kind of coming out of the rain, and they're pounding on their shields. They have these giant riot shields, kind of like the riot troopers do, and they're pounding on their shields, and the words on their shields all say "Submit now." So I kind of wanted to replicate that in Star Wars. I wanted to do like Aurebesh "Submit now" shields. But the trick of the story here is that the hero of the story, the journalist by the name of Spider Jerusalem, exposes Fred Christ for his grift, and exposes that it was all a setup, and so that was kind of the gist of the story there. Very I'll just say it's very apropos to what's going on these days, but I'll leave it there. We're not here to talk about current events. We're here to hobby and do Legion stuff, so I'll leave it there. Palisas says, my clones were forest camo until now, or going medieval metallic. Yeah, I like that. So you're going like chainmail style or plate mail style? I think that's pretty cool. It's really cool to see what people come up with, and especially what our viewers come up with, and our people who've supported the channel for a long time. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna have the I was gonna see if I could do like a water slide decal with the Submit Now and Aurebesh. And I think for my Tour of Duty force, a squad of riot troopers wouldn't be out of place, certainly because of the nature of the force. It's supposed to be like a civil defense, civil order. I call it the civil order garrison because it's not really about defense; it's about maintaining order. So they're the civil order garrison, and they have a scout walker and and combat engineers and all kinds of crazy stuff. But a riot squad wouldn't be out of place with the Imperial agent leading it with his platoon commander. Take a look at this picture. Oh, nice. Okay. I dig the weathering. I like how the metallic left the lines there that you can that the wash can go into. That's pretty cool. Is the gun, is that like supposed to be a wood stock on the gun too? I think that's really fun, like an arquebus. Hey Grant, welcome in. Yeah, I'm putting some rides together. I just think the sculpts are brilliant. It's one of the best packs that the AMG has done. I gotta say, man, like AMG sculpt game lately, on point. Like really on point. Yeah, I dig that. It's like an arquebus. I don't know if how familiar y'all are with historical war games, but back in the 1620s, 1610s, they used to have an arquebus, which was basically a giant rifle, super duper clunky. It would have a monopod that you would have to use to stabilize it. They hadn't invented the bipod yet, so you would hold the arquebus, and you'd like stick the monopod in the dirt, and like try to hold the gun steady and shoot it. Pally says, I opted not to water down the metal paint because it does leave it a bit more pitted for wash to take to. Yeah, I noticed that. I was like, this is cool. You want that, texture. Like, I don't know about y'all, but my, like, Facebook feed is full of, like, artists. Because I'm a miniature painter, right? So, like, I'm constantly looking at techniques and, like, trying to improve my painting. And so, like, I run into, like, random videos that people do, like, short videos of their techniques. And I'm just stunned by some of the stuff I see. But, like, there's a couple of painters. I think Villainy Inc. is the name. They do like this Grimdark Compendium series. And he's very much about texturing, especially when it comes to metal. Like, we don't always want that like perfectly smooth, you know, box art texture on our paint jobs. We can use the grittiness, and we can use the texture that naturally occurs in paint to make some really cool effects. That's wise, Natalie. I should probably do the same thing, to be honest with you. Yeah, Facebook is probably not the place. Instagram would definitely be the place, though. Same company, though. It's Meta. It's all Meta. Oh, I love this little guy. Look at that. Look at that sculpt with the holding out the pistol. Or the blaster, I mean. Man, what a good sculpt. Yeah, I noticed that like the key to the Redditor's heart is through their through hobby posting. That's kind of the key to a Redditor's heart. Because I used to just post like my blog articles and my episodes in there, and no one would really care. But if you post some good hobby and you attach it to a blog article, people will click through. Got to hook them first. Got to give them a reason to click. All right, let me get my music restarted here. Do. What's the oath? Well, if you all don't know this music, you should check out Louis Humanoid. Or Lewis Humanoid. I'll put a link in the description. He's got a great channel. Alright, so we're cutting out M now. Or no, was this N or M? No, it's N. Okay. This guy's got less of a shield. He's only got a little buckler. He's got a buckler type shield as opposed to this this other guy into the tower shield. So begins my enrollment into the ranks of the Empire. Yeah, apparently, I think we're going down this road. We have an Empire army. It's about time. I swore for the longest time I would never play Empire on principle, but you know, desperate times, right? It's actually 99% because Tarkin's coming to the game, to be frank with y'all. And I'm a Peter Cushing fan, so I do stand Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing also stand Wargaming. I know many of you probably know that, but he was a big Napoleonic wargamer. I am a one faction guy, says Sean. So Shadow Collective all the way. I think that's the smart thing to do. It's not the. For me, it's less fun to just focus on one faction because then I'm subjected to the whims and weather surrounding that faction's viability. Exactly, Natalie. Natalie says I've been eyeing Empire because they have the most bounty hunters. Yeah, I also have a Din Djarin that I could play in Empire if I wanted to. I think Din Djarin's just a really good piece right now. He's very well positioned. He's still going to be well positioned, I think, for the next several months. So if you wanted to play Din, now would be a pretty good time to do it. Not just because of Beskar Flamer or Beskar Spear Flamer combo, but he does have bounty. So all those little Imperial agents are going to be running around, Imperial officers running around. You might as well use that bounty keyword when you got it. I could totally see like a Imperial commander or Imperial officer like Din Vader list of some type. You know what? Choose your Vader. You know, I still like Operative Vader. I know I'm in the minority. I think Operative Vader is actually pretty legit. I love these stun batons. They look really good. I'm going to do like the blue and white lightning effect that I did for my agent. I did some lightning for him. Just made some twist tie. I took a bread tie and I broke it into pieces and did the lightning with it. It's the perfect size for this scale of figure. I was gonna use a paper clip, but I decided to go with the bread tie on Brian's suggestion. And he was spot on. He really had a good call there. Hey, Pally, have fun at the pumpkin patch. See you around. I feel like I don't know. I think Boba is an unknown quantity. I think command and control uplink makes the prices of everything a little funny. Because I think you definitely play command and control uplink on any officer you take. I think CNC uplink is you never leave that home. Like, it's too good. A one-time pip lowering thing with no range restriction, too good. Like, that's just staple to every Imperialist going forward, basically. You play that, you play Tip of the Spear for the order control. Oop. Okay, that's the first 30-minute palm finished. Gonna finish this trooper and then take a little bit of a short break. So what's Boba at range 2, right? It's 5 black still. Did they get rid of his sharpshooter? Am I just crazy? I'm going to have to look at his stat card. So I forgot what they did to him, because like in my head he's still like old Boba with, you know, crit surge and like sharp 2, and I know they gave him independent. Like the good independent where you can choose aim or dodge. Sharpshooter 2 still. Okay, so that's still really good. Range 2, basically giving yourself blast. Like, that's awesome. I know it's only 5 dice, so that could hold him back for sure. Yeah, but he's just one figure. And plus he has a flamethrower now. Like, he has an expendable flamethrower on top of things. Well, he has exactly one melee out, and that's Whipcord. Where he gets, like, super disengaged for one turn. Oh, he's only got Pierce 1. Yeah, it's kind of not good. Yeah, I mean, I know there's a reason that he doesn't get taken, right? And part of that is the lack of, the lack of Pierce. Yeah, Din absolutely competes with Boba Fett. Like, if I had to choose between Din and Boba Fett right now, it'd be no contest. Like, wait a minute, can you command and control uplink with Din? Can you zero pip his Relentless card? That'd be wild if you could. Can you? So what does command and control uplink say? It says, after revealing command cards before determining priority, you may X this card. If you do, you may treat your revealed command card as 1 pip lower until the end of the round. So you can actually, wow, there's no restriction on faction, huh? Interesting. We love that. That's pretty cool. We love that. Okay. Yeah, wow. 0 pip Bosk Poison comes to mind. You can poison before anyone else can move. Zero pip Whipcord is obviously good. 0 pip Flamer is obviously good. What's the IG 1 pip? That one doesn't seem as impactful. Put some super glue on the feet of these riots and get them gluing onto the base here. Get that one rolling there. What do you mean by no tokens? Oh yeah, focused on the kill. Okay, yeah. Got it. So it's the yeah, it's the denying tokens one. So that's pretty good, obviously. It was better when deflect needed a dodge. But you can deny into the fray surges with it. Yeah, the deflect changes made that worse than it is against Jedi. Yo, I got caught by a double flamer while playing Ewoks. I'm not sad that went away. Losing 2 full squads of skirmishers to the double flamer trick was dumb. I didn't like it. I am A-okay with that leaving the game. All right, I'm going to set another little timer here. Get this get some the rest of these riots done. Got one more riot trooper and some KX droids, and then we're good to go. K09. All right. All right, Trooper K. He's Trooper K. He's from Men in Black. Yeah, so in my first Tour of Duty game, it was against Rebels. I had an ATST against 3 double-stuffed Ion squads. Man, those double-stuffed Ion squads hurt when they get their shots. Oof. I actually lost my Imperial Agent to a double-stuffed Ion squad just shooting him to death because there's just so many of them. Cover didn't really matter. Yeah, I like this. I like small scale games for Tour. I think Tour should like take an hour and a half at most if you're both set up well. Like if I want to play like full fat Legion, I'm gonna play like 1,000-point competitive. I think Tour is more fun at a 600-point level. I know people can play 1,000-point Tour. I mean, obviously that's epic because you want to play with like the big heroes maybe in your Tour of Duty army, do the heroic intervention or whatever it was called, and get like Darth Vader on the scene. New card storage made it an awesome. What are you using for card storage these days, Grant? Rebel Troopers seem like the worst double stuff squad. I don't know. Like Agile is nice on them for sure. Rebel Trooper, I don't know. Just having that many black dice with a critical backing it is a lot. All right, so we've got one K2 droid here. My K2 droids, do I want them to have a pistol? K2 droids can shoot white dice in range, right? They have the ability to shoot with rifles. I never put rides on the table, so I don't actually know. They're not sidearmed, right? So I presume they get the white die in range. But I guess the question is, why would you ever shoot with them? You want to be moving to melee. Thank you, Grant. I'd really like to see it. Right. I have ideas for these K2 droids. I think we're going to do a... I think we're going to do a metallic underbrush and do like a purple glaze and see where we get to with it. Hey there, Ginger. Welcome in. They don't have any sidearm keyword. Okay, awesome. So they can shoot rifles if they want. That's good to know. Cut, cut, cut. So many droid parts. Yeah, I think I could do like a metallic underbrush, like sort of a black, like just a dark, you know, like a dark undercoat using the black brown and like maybe just a metallic dry brush. And then like I would put like I make a purplish glaze or like a blue-black glaze and just blue-black glaze the top of the surface or the top of it, and that would actually probably get the result I want for these KX droids. Alright, I'm going to save the rifle. There's an extra marksman rifle in the sprue, so I'm going to save it. And use it for basing later, maybe. I like these little bits. I'm a bit of a bit hoarder. Could also just find a way to model it onto an existing stormtrooper. Let's take a look at this thing that Grant has in the Discord here. Oh, nice. I like this. So you've got this like padded... I see how it's padded. It's very nice. I like that. How expensive was that? Okay, cool. Don't need this right now. My camera actually got bumped a little bit. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I like this DLT. It's a nice addition. I got some droid legs and droid torso. Let's get this droid together. Why not? I swear to you guys, KX droids on Grandmaster in Fallen Order were so hard to kill. So much effort. But they were more fun than the things on Dathomir, those big beasts or whatever they were called. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do that again. I was a total glutton for punishment and played Fallen Order for the first time on Grandmaster with no... It was like a blind... It was very silly. It was a blind Grandmaster playthrough, and I had no prior Souls-like experience, so it was a learning curve. It was a learning curve, to say the least. But no, I don't think I shall be doing that again. It's deeply unlikely. We're just going to do this guy with, like, normal arms. Why not? It's going to be beat booping around, telling the rebels to stop doing rebel things. Stop resisting. Can he put the rifle on his back? I don't read the assembly instructions clearly, so. Who needs them? Yeah, that KX droid looks like he's ready to manhandle some rebels. Or droid handle? I don't know. Yeah, I do the same thing. I use like a soft-sided deck box to get my cards in a tournament. I think that's a good way to just have them. It worked for like command cards and battle cards, though it certainly worked there. But for all the other ones, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about, not just being able to print out a list and bring it to a tournament. Grant says, I need to kit bash Rick the door technician now with the new scouts. Absolutely. We got that Fallen Order reference in there. All right, let's get this K2 droid ready to party. KX droid, I guess. Empire sure loves their droids, I tell you what. Subservient. Not fit to bouts of renegade programming. Or not subject to bouts of renegade programming. Perfectly under control at all times. Just like the Empire likes it. All right, after this Pomo timer finishes, once we get all these assembled, I'm going to take a little walk around the block. Be back in about 5 minutes or so. And then we'll get to some painting. We'll actually do some painting. As opposed to just assembly. Yeah, isn't the Empire like, speciesist? Isn't that one of their traits? They don't like the other non-human species. Right, since that's Thrawn's species. My vague understanding is that the Emperor and Thrawn both like see something in one another. At least that was the impression that I got from the Thrawn book that I listened to. And then, of course, Thrawn being from outside the galaxy of the Empire. He is extragalactic. It's a great word. All right. One more riot trooper down. Just got to get the shield on. So this guy's got the full tower. He doesn't have the buckler. This guy's just hunkered down behind his shield. That is going to be a little bit miserable to paint. That's okay. See if I can flex his rifle arm out a little bit, maybe make it a little easier. There we go. That should be a touch easier. And when they're all hunched in like that, it's hard to get the brush in there for me. Put some super glue on his knee there. Just put him on the base. This rifle arm has to come out a little bit. All right, he's good to go. One more KX droid. Yeah, sub-assemblies are the best way to address it. Um, I've tried to paint in sub-assemblies before, and I usually lose track of what I'm doing. So that's just my like personal difficulty with sub-assemblies. Because like I used to paint these like Games Workshop figures, right? And so many of the Games Workshop figures, it was like, here's a head inside of a well because these guys have gigantic shoulders or something like that. Or here's a pilot sticking out of a narrow cockpit hatch. And we need you to paint the inside of the cockpit hatch before you glue the head in, because there's just no flipping way you're going to get any traction once this head is glued on. Like, it's really inconvenient. See, that's smart of you, Sean, saying he's using poster tack to do the volumes. That's wise. And then at least it all matches up and you don't have to guess, right? I'm doing similar. I actually have a pirate orc that I'm working on. It's maybe I'll break it out when I don't have Star Wars to work on, but I did get a pirate orc captain because there is a little part of my brain that says we want to do kill team because there's pirate orcs. So I'm doing that just as a fun side project. I don't think I'm going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but it's got the same issue because these pirate orcs are wearing great coats. Oh yeah, like I was using the 8th edition dwarfs, so 8th edition dwarfs all have that issue. Where you can't get behind the head really easily. You have to take the head out and paint behind it and then put the head in. I am still going to write my LVO write-up, but I will say I hadn't competed in a while. And there was a point during the event where I was like, man, I must be a masochist. Not that I didn't enjoy like most of the event, but like it kind of like dawned on me the level of involvement necessary to even think about competing in the hobby. Just kind of, I just had a moment where it was like, it struck me just how either crazy or tolerant or both one must be to be a competitor in this game or in any hobby game. Not even just like the amount of games played though, more like what I'm expected to do, like time wise. I'll have to. I'm not very clear about what I mean. Just ad hoc here, so I'm gonna have to think about it for a while and really write it down. I will say this though, I was pretty unhappy after losing 2 games in a row. I was not a happy camper at that point. But I sacked up and I said, look, we're going to win as many as we can and just have a good time. And I did eventually go 3-3, stumbling at the finish line. But more on that later. All right. Have I tried MCP? I have not, but I don't have really a attraction to superheroes in the way that I'm attracted to Star Wars. And by attract, I just mean appeal. You know, it doesn't appeal to me in the same way. So maybe I should play Shatterpoint. I don't know. I hear lots of things. I'll just say. I hear lots of things. Haven't actually played it. Don't have real experience. Don't want to spread bad rumors. You know? Don't want to be part of the problem. And I was even just saying to someone the other day, like, I know that people's time and money can get kind of zero sum when it comes to hobby stuff. But I would hope that people don't have that same zero sum attitude towards games. Well, what sucked, Sean, was that I didn't. What really sucked, was that I did not play my last game well at all until I lost something important, and that was Maul round 1 to an Ahsoka burst speed countercharge. I thought I had a force push that was safe, and I did not. And I'd already committed to the move, and he had a range 3 thing to strip my standby. So the only thing I could do at that point was dodge and pray, and my prayers were not answered. It was just a tremendous blunder right at the finish line. And honestly, I only lost that game by 35 kill points. I tied on victory points, lost by 35 kill points. And I just know that if I hadn't made that mistake, I would have won the game. Like, there's just no... I mean, full credit to my opponent for beating me, okay? But at the same time, it's like if I had my 200-point force user, if I wasn't playing 200 points down, I would have won. Like, there's no question in my mind. All right, let's find a little... Find a little bag where we can store our bits. Alright, I'm going to find some music. I'm going to put the break screen up. I'll be back in like 2 minutes or so. I'm just going to stand up and stretch, get some things sorted out. Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from Dan. He was a great opponent, and he went 4-2. Like, I can't take that away from him, you know? That wouldn't be fair. That's the wrong music. All right, we'll be back in about 2 minutes. Thanks, everybody. right, we are back with more Wintermoon Hobby Circle. Welcome back, everybody, from the break. Seeing some conversation in the chat about 200-point force users being a gigantic liability, and I totally agree with that. Force users are certainly that. They can be a several hundred-point problem in that department. So, that said, I'm gonna go ahead and just get started painting some stuff. I'm gonna do these KX droids. I've decided. We'll leave the actual riot troopers till later. But I have an idea, as Han Solo would say. We're just gonna paint these guys up, and you know, see what works. I got some blue black. I got some alien purple I want to use on these guys, as well as some yellow. But I'm going to first start with a Pro Acryl black-brown brush-on primer, which is what I use all the time. Just serious workhorse. I think I might switch to pure black in the future, but this has just been really good for me. Maybe do a black and a camo green in the future. Let's see, my brushes are all kind of in a disarray over here. That's fine. Just start slapping it on there. Ginger says, playing lists without real force user focus pieces just lets me not have to have your entire game plan placed on the shoulders of a single unit. I completely agree. Do I have an airbrush? I do have an airbrush. I need to work on ventilating it. It has the exhaust hose coming out of the hood, but my window is a bit wide, so I need like one of those sheets that kind of like how do you say it? One of those sheets that will seal it up and make it less of an issue with the fumes coming back in the room. I have not, but I should give that a try. I know Mr. Hobby. I like Mr. Hobby brand stuff. Is it Mr. Surfacer? Yeah, so Mr. Surfacer is an interesting one. I've heard of it used for like gap filling even. You can use Mr. Surfacer for that. Because it does fill in gaps on models, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, GSI Krios does it. I have Mr. Mahogany Surfacer. I don't have just plain old Mr. Surfacer. Oh, it's not the primer. Okay. If you have a link for me, I would appreciate that, because I think I'm confused. Because I know Mr. Surfacer, but not Mr. Surface. Yeah, I have a respirator. Like I have a KN95 respirator that I use. But yeah, I got to make sure I'm ventilating. Okay, well put it in Discord then. That's the best place to put it, is Discord, not on YouTube. Thank you, Sean. I don't know, I find the brush on priming process, I get to know the miniature a little better. But yeah, it's totally a preference thing. Like, I used to be all about like rattle cans and everything else, and I don't know, brush on priming is fun to me. And plus it shrinks when it dries, so it's not it may look a little thick when it goes on, but it does shrink when it dries, so it doesn't like kill any detail. That has been my experience, at least. Sorry, Miss Lasley, I am streaming. Yeah, the one problem I have with the Pro-Acryl primer, it didn't do this before. But on some of these miniatures, some of the hard plastics, it doesn't quite bite on the initial coat. But it bites on the second coat, so I guess it's not really that much of a problem, but it doesn't look good going on. And so I could see how that would discourage like a newer hobbyist. Someone who hasn't seen this before. He doesn't quite know, oh, it just needs a second coat or it needs a minute to bite the plastic. Yeah, I've heard this might be a problem unique to the black-brown formulation that's being used with the lack of bite. But this is the only brush-on acrylic that I've tried from Pro-Acryl. And I mean, I did some Googling, and like people said, oh, you know, I've had that issue with their black-brown. But I don't know. Like, I might switch to pure black just because. Grant says rattle can takes a minute to get right. Nothing worse than kicking up a model because the can sat or you weren't at the right distance. Amen to that. Don't even get me started about priming in white without an airbrush. Holy, I've seen some really... Actually, took out some of my older miniatures, and I just want to strip them and start over because the white primer looks so bad. Doink. I'm in Southwest Louisiana, so the heat and humidity are a thing, so I've messed up on a model or two. Yeah, exactly. White is tricky as the particles are larger. Yeah, they are. In my experience, it has to be super dilute, and you have to be very careful about overspray. Or overspraying, I mean. Yeah, I will never rattle can white again. I refuse. Where are my... There it is. Yeah, the fuzzing stinks, I will say. It's like there's one thing about texture, but it's not the texture I want. You know what I mean? Oh, because it has that grainy texture. You're saying so Sean says, I wish I had saved some of my white primer for a desert terrain project I was working on. I'm guessing it's because of the grainy texture. That's like the time you actually want the white texture. I thought as much. Well, folks, if we get copyright struck, it was nice knowing you. No, I'm kidding. I don't have a single copyright strike on this channel, so... Man, that's a virtual instrument cover? That sounds dang close. Man, Louis Humanoid has some really good stuff on his channel. Wow. Alright, no more of that. That's beautiful, but no more of that. Oh, Mr. Finishing Surfacer. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to get some of this stuff. How many ounces is that for $20? 40 milliliters? Woo! That's some good stuff, though. As Master Shake would say, that's expensive. It looks just godlike. I'm sure the finish is insane. Yeah, me too, Sean. I'm so excited for the tank. I'm gonna weather the heck out of that bad boy. I'm gonna do all the videos I've been watching about how to do tanks for historicals. I'm gonna like apply that to the pirate tank and make it look really cool. You know, do like reverse washing and like chipping and all that stuff. Should be a great time. I think for future Hobby Circle streams, I'm just going to make it a rule that I have to bring miniatures that are primed. Because this is a bit time consuming and probably not interesting. Relative to, say, like actual painting. Still, though, a worthwhile discussion about priming for sure. Thank you, Sean. I will take a look now. Let me just make sure this miniature is ready to dry. Grab the pic so I can show the stream. Ah, it's Spider-Man. Well, I like how it preserved all the little details. That's very cool. I think we're ready to try an experiment. Let me see if I can find my plate mail metal. Where are you, plate mail metal? There you are. All right, so I'm going to take plate mail metal. I'm going to dry brush all over this primer miniature just to get the volumes in there. Bro, that is a lot of tanks and pirates. I hope they all see the table. I would love for that to be the case. Oops. All right, got my paper towel, got my dry brush. I'm just going to go all over this miniature with plate mail metal. Just dry brushing on there. Alright, so the whole miniature is metallic. Even the blaster rifle will do metallic as well. Now these droids should look pretty weathered. They've been in service on a desert or arid world. Adara, I think, is the name of the planet I gave to the name I gave to the planet that my garrison's on. So these guys should look pretty rough. Not that well maintained. It's just hard to keep these droids clean, you know? No oil baths for you on the regular, Mr. KX. Oops. Alright, I'm going to do an experiment. Yeah, if they break down, you just get another droid, right? You just requisition another one from the garrison. Like so many things in the Empire, they are expendable. Alright, I'm going to make two glazes. I'm going to make a glaze with blue-black. I'm going to make a glaze with alien purple. I'm going to see which one I like better. I have a feeling I'm going to like the blue-black better. But I want to look at the purple, because purple seems fun. So my glaze medium, I'm just going to go like 50-50. Just eyeball it. Let's see what happens. Actually, no, before I do that, I'm going to do another quick dry brush layer with silver. With shining silver. Because I want to get some highs. Because I realize they don't have enough highs on the edges, so I want more. I need something to make the glaze, shine through the glaze a little better. So I'm going to do like a silver, just a quick silver pass. Shouldn't take more than like 30 seconds. Plus, this silver color has a little more blue in it. The plate mail metal is very gray. You want to get these edges silvered up so that they show through the glaze a little more. Yeah, because I guess the name of the game with this technique is that I'm trying to do like volume. Like we're volume painting, I guess is what it's called, where it's like, oh, the light. I'm not actually painting the color. It's going to be I'm just painting the light reflecting, and then I'm painting the actual color over it, translucent. So then the volumes underneath become apparent. I did it with the black for my operative, and it seems to work. It's a very subtle effect, but it's definitely present. I need a little bit more pigment here. All right, let's let that dry a little bit. We'll do the rifle guy in the blue-black. That is too opaque already. more glaze on that one. Thinner, I say. Thinner. Though it's tough because I'm using a dark color, so dark colors don't glaze as well as light colors, is my understanding. Yeah, this brush doesn't really have a point anymore. I'm just like making sure the color goes in the right spot. We'll fix it later with brushes that actually do have points. I'm trying to remember where I heard that light colors glaze better. I think it was Vince Venturella, but I could be wrong. Well, I will say this blue-black is very, feels very 1950s to me for some reason. Feels a little bit like, what do you call it? Who's the robot in Fallout? It reminds me of Fallout a lot. Mr. Something. Can't remember his name. But it was like a ball with a bunch of like floating arms. Yeah, my thing with glazing is that I just know that you can get the undercoat to show through, and that's kind of the point of the metallic dry brush, is that you get that undercoat showing through, so that translucency. Alright, that's the blue-black. Don't know if I like it, but again, you know, things go through their ugly phase. This always happens. Every hobby project has what I call an ugly phase, where it's like it wasn't quite what you wanted, but it's still workable. I think what I need to do is darken this with a wash. Because this looks very bright compared to what I had in my head. Let's check out this purple. Let's see what the purple does to it. That's very bright. That's very bright. Holy moly, that's bright. It's like pastel almost. We're gonna forge ahead. Just do it. Get comfortable with the discomfort. I wish I had more of those. I have tried them, yes. I think they work really well. I think they're probably what I wanted here, more so than the glaze. I think the glaze effect did. I think the glaze did work. Like, it did make it translucent, like I was aiming for. I just think I used the wrong colors. I think alien purple is way too bright. think that's okay. I think I can... I think there's ways to... I don't know, fix is the wrong word, because it implies I did something wrong. I don't think I did anything wrong by experimenting. I don't know, change direction, maybe that's a good way to put it. I think there's definitely ways to go in different directions. Did someone say Nuln Oil? No, I mean, black wash would help a lot. Pivot, that's a good word. I can pivot on this. I'm really debating tossing my old cards, honestly. I don't want, my gut says don't do it, but I know that they're not going to be used anymore, so why am I hanging on to them? It's like all my promos, too. Okay, actually this didn't come out too bad. The purple did not come out bad at all. Or it didn't come out, it didn't... It was a happy result occurred. A happy accident, as Bob Ross would say. Happy little accidents. I love Bob Ross for that reason. Peter says, I'm going to put them all on eBay as an out-of-print limited edition Star Wars memorabilia, which isn't a lie. Technically, that is not a lie. You'd be right. As Bob Ross would say, every day is a good day when you paint. And I totally agree with him. I could be somewhere else in the universe doing something way more strenuous and awful. But instead, I'm here, I'm painting, I'm having a good time, hanging out with great community, so nothing to feel bad about in particular. Okay, he's very purple. He's very much a droid. I would say this is a start, though. This is definitely a good start. I need some contrast paint for the metal bits, maybe some diluted black, maybe just a black wash even in the metal parts. Ooh, it's a little too high on the screen. Hold on. There we go. Let me try to get him to the camera. There we go. It's definitely a start. And this is the blue-black one, a little more, let's see if I get on the camera here, a little more traditional. They both need some washes to filter that color down because it is really bold. Even the blue-black I would consider to be very bold. So let's do that. Let's do some dark tone. We got about 15 minutes left, so let's just experiment with this dark tone and see what we can get done. It's all an exploration. It's all an experiment. Just dilute this wash a little bit. We don't need full strength dark tone where we're going. We need like maybe 3/4 strength, maybe half strength. Let's just start with the joints. Like this underside. Peter says, haven't you seen a KX droid yeet a Gorman Rebel before? Yeah. Being bold is their thing. Agree. Being bold is kind of their shtick. Yeah, I think we could filter the entire miniature down with this diluted wash, and we would get into a good place, I think, to do some highlighting. Liquid skill, liquid talent on the way. Just as long as we don't pool the wash on the flat areas to make it look tea-stained or any of those other bad things we don't want. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 layers of wash. I'm going to do a general all-over layer to sort of matte out the, sort of matte the shine a little bit on the undercoat. Like give it a more matte appearance. And then we're going to do a second coat of this wash for the darker, more gritty areas of the miniature. So like under the chin, for example, is a good place to do it. Under the arms, like in the armpit, like all the parts that are quote unquote supposed to be darker. We'll do it there. That should make a pretty good difference for this miniature. You know what? I think we do the same dilute wash from the purple as well. And I think what I'm going to do is, I think this purple that I chose for this miniature is actually going to be the brightest color. I think this is actually the highlight color. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wash the heck out of it, and then I'm going to bring it back up with the regular color. And then that should add some kind of gradient to make it look a little more three-dimensional. I think that would make a big difference. Uh-oh. That's not supposed to happen. That I don't like. Got a little bit of paint peel up on this wash coat. Must not have been fully dry. That has not happened to me before. That's okay. We will continue forging ahead. Something must not have been fully dry. That's why the wash pulled it up. All right. Let that dry for a little bit. I'm actually going to pull up some of the wash on the upper parts with just an empty brush. And then maybe do a little bit of A little bit of loose highlights just on the very top of some of these edges. Just because I want to experiment with doing that. Yeah, it's gonna look better than I thought it was gonna look for sure. I'm hopeful about it. All right, as we start to wind down the stream, I just want to say thanks to everybody who showed up and came out to chat, came out to do your hobby stuff. Of course, if you're new, you can go to wintermoonwargaming.com, sign up for the newsletter. It's every Wednesday. The next live stream is going to be Oklahoma on the 15th of November. We'll be there from the 15th to the 16th. Should be a great time. There's a lot of podcasters coming out to play in that event, I hear. So it should be, we might do like a mega podcast, what do you call it? Like a mega episode of all these different Legion podcasts coming together, doing like a lounge episode. But yeah, it should be a good time. Again, yeah, wintermoonwargaming.com. I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Thanks, y'all, for coming out. Have a great rest of your weekend, and see you soon. I'll be in touch on Tuesday, hopefully with a new article, and then Wednesday with the newsletter in your email inbox. So, and of course, you can always find us on Discord. Winter Moon Wargaming Public is the Discord. I'll put the link in the chat just so people have it. If you're not there already, what are you doing? The invite in the description. All right, it was good to see everybody. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great weekend.